It's Dandadan, the show where we talk about Dandadan, a manga about the dum-da-dums. This week I feel good because this video has paid off for me. Ogre has finally used his Ogre Club, and it seems as if I may have been right in it literally taking the shape of an Ogre Club, of all things. So what else was I right about? And also, is Tatsu about to end this arc even earlier than we thought? Could the confession be happening before the end of 2025? I am a partner with GamerSupps, and if you missed their creator code sale, don't worry, I got you fam. You can still use my code CTactics to get 10% off all of your orders. It helps support the channel through a commission from each purchase. Thanks for listening. We pick up from 215, in which we see Momo and Ogre. They're being attacked by a horde of aliens, well, Serpo, along with that. Okay, so I sort of missed that in the last chapter. It was pretty obvious even when I was editing, but my excuse is that right before this video, I was attacked by 1,000 duck-sized Momos, which is exactly what I would tell you if I were lying, but I'm not. Ogre takes Momo's hand, and they run, as we can see that Mr. Mummy Boy on a freaking bike of all things. Often I wonder just how Tatsu can keep coming up with these kind of creative ideas. It reminds me so much of JoJo, but it's always impressive to me with his boundless creativity and how he's able to do it. But as they run away, Ogre realizes that this is the worst possible timing, because both of them have no powers. They are wide open to attacks from the Serpo or anyone else. So the Serpo attacks, and while it does knock Ogre back with the sheer amount of awesomeness, he lands and he is surprisingly relatively okay. Now, okay, we gotta talk about this because this is absolutely enlightening. It seems as if Ogre's training has led to some very meaningful improvements, because the last time he was in rough shape after a blast, but now he is able to stand back up and continue running pretty quickly with his clothes intact. This is because of his training with Manjiro, and I couldn't help but feel like this was contrasted pretty well with the first arc of the series, where it was revealed Momo didn't believe in her teachings, but would eventually pay off when Seiko's training revealed itself to be key in breaking free and saving Ogre. Could be wrong about that, I could be off, but it did remind me of it, which was kind of the first time that we were able to see how thoughtful and honestly right Seiko Ayase was and continues to be. Now, once again, even though it is with Manjiro, her teachings are bubbling up as strong instincts and sturdy bodies within these young kids. In other words, gotta love those G-MILFs. They kinda know best, don't they? I did not expect this next bit, however. Momo just goes to town on the whistle for basically the entirety of the rest of this chapter. I love how Ogre is like, "Miss Ayase, that's just a freaking whistle, dude. It isn't gonna help us." Now, this is here to show us that Momo Ayase literally trusts, on instinct mind you, Jeremy just as much as anyone else. We know this because in the heat of the moment, with no other options available, let me put yourself in her shoes. Not trusting Ogre and all of that, she does know that the whistle her creepy-ass teacher gave her is waiting there to be blown. It's as I said, like in the other chapter. It's a strongman trick to give a weakened person something that gives them an easy way out. A powerful device, or a favor, in this case, a device, that will make Momo go, "Oh, hey, I'm in trouble and almost going to die. Blowing this whistle will save my life. Thanks, Jeremy Dahmer." That's really all Jeremy needs to do to get his foot in the door. And like with any strong man, especially Jeremy, when they are able to get their foot in the door, they will take an inch. And when they take an inch, they take everything you own and your soul along with it. So Ogre suggests that they change plans to go to Gigi's place to retreat and regroup. This is when it is revealed the mummy on the bike is none other than Mr. Dris. By the way, there was something so innately amazing about this image. It's just... It's right, isn't it? It feels so good to look at, and I could really see just why it works on instinct alone. Like, honestly, man, I could just look at this image all day. Anyways, the Serpo asked him to switch bodies because, well, did they not see this image? I thought that was kind of a funny line, though. But This is when he activates his powers, turning the asphalt into a void, which Momo falls into just before Okarune is able to catch her and lift her back up onto the asphalt road paint symbols. Now, essentially, this is how it works. Everything that is black is a void, and everything else is a solid. So to really break it down for you, a living nightmare. Also, loved the touch of Momo pleading for Okarune to not let go of her. That is some serious romantic symbolism that I can't help but feel in the cockles of my heart. So this is the ability of Mr. Dris, and it's a pretty neat idea too, but as it's revealed, they now do not care if Momo or Okarune are dead, they just want them. So Okarune explains to Momo that these are aliens, which is kind of in a way, a feather on Okarune's cap, and one of the points that Okarune needed to prove to Momo to tell the truth to her. So Mr. Dris, or I guess not tell the truth to her, but convince her of the truth. So Mr. Dris attacks with this blade, and at first, it looks like he blew Okarune's head off, which for like just, honestly, a split second, it kind of got me here. Which to me is an accomplishment because Okarune is the MC along with Momo, so it is kind of hard to believe he'd die at all, but for that split second, Tatsu got me, and the way it was framed with Momo's hair obscuring his head and the backpack being destroyed, to me, that was all very masterful stuff. I know, the simplest things impress me, you guys, I know. I'm like a child. But as it so turns out, yet again, Okarune is saved by Seiko Ayase in some way or form. The Ogre Club has finally come into play, and he understands how to use it now. Essentially, it's like any other character has been told, even Momo. Put your energy into the point below the navel, and from the top of the head, visualize the creation of a laser beam. And wouldn't you know it, the videos I did a couple months back on the Ogre Club and even the Uchide no Kozuchi are becoming more and more a reality. I was even right on the form that the Ogre Club would take, which is an Ogre Club. Now, I won't recap that video here because I put a lot of work and research into this video, and I think it's better as, its own thing. I don't want to devalue my own work. So please watch it after this video. It is important. But what I will mention is that my other main theory from this video was Okarune and possibly Momo getting weapons to go along with their powers, and I think this makes it just a little bit more possible. So I want to kind of go over this a little bit because it's actually a little more complicated than I originally intended for it to be, but this makes me think that the approach could be more powers based, like Yu Yu Hakusho or something. And what I mean specifically is the weapons. They could be conjured via like mana or spirit energy rather than simply being physical objects. Because while the talisman is a physical object, it seems as if this is a conduit for Okarune's spiritual energy to then more easily create a visualization in his mind. Think of something like the nano skin. If that is the case, then my idea of the Ogre Club being able to take their historical forms as both a club and a staff, which are two real-life versions of the Ogre Club, by the way, which you should watch the video for, then Okarune may be able to hold his own against the Serpo and have a way to defend Momo, and vice versa eventually. Maybe. We will have to see, though, in the next chapter just what this ability actually looks like and how it is used, but I came out of this chapter kind of not knowing what it would be like, and I still don't know what it would be like, but I'm really invested in how Tatsu is going to potentially explain the Ogre Club and how all of this works. Because I think it's more than just, hey, you gotta spiritualize it and you get like a lightsaber Ogre Club. I think it's more than just that. We'll have to see though. My theories coming out of this chapter, they are largely the same, but with some minor tweaking. I think it may still be possible that Jeremy is an alien inside of a pharaoh's body. However, this chapter puts a serious dapper on this theory, almost crippling it to some extent. Because it is clear that a Serpo has inhabited a pharaoh's body, and I don't know if Tatsu would want to use that again and repeat this idea, and if that would devalue it. So, not looking good there. Otherwise though, this chapter has a lot of great signs out there for how this arc is shaping up to be one of the more memorable in this new saga that we have. In this chapter alone, Okarun was able to prove to Momo that aliens indeed exist, which should in theory allow him to climb over that hurdle. But I think Tatsu is being specific about his intent, and this alone may not do the job. After all, Momo has that whistle, and I think Momo has just as much incentive to trust Okarun as she may to trust Jeremy. But this does help to start building something with Momo that Okarun desperately needed. So let's kind of break that down from a general viewpoint and list it all out. It's actually really kind of cute in a way when you put it into these terms, but Okarun has now charmed Momo through his immense knowledge of the occult, as well his knowledge of history and even aliens, and now he has proved to Momo that aliens are real, which should in theory prove everything he said back at the friend date to be true. But my guess is that this will just act like a domino, and from here there will be more that will fall until eventually Momo finally believes in spirits and thus is able to use her spiritual energy. I'll explain further because this is my job. If Okarun is able to use a talisman, which is something Momo knows from Seiko as a spiritual object, and because Okarun said it is from Manjiro and Seiko, then Momo hearing this information should begin to let her walls down and trust that spirits and ghosts can exist. Now, what that means is it won't be immediate, because what comes next is the catalyst or the trigger. What is going to put Okarun into so much danger that Momo has no other choice but to go Super Saiyajin and save her almost Boo? Because remember, like how Krillin dying brought out the Super Saiyan within Goku, Okarun nearly dying and showing off his ability to be a man, like a Kentakakura, and protect Momo, brought out the inner, as Ira Mental Health Atori would say, demon. Then we should be on track to Momo getting those memories back, I think by the end of this arc, and soon, very soon. Like, by the end of this year soon. So, why in the hell, and let me ask you this, viewer, why in the hell is next week a break week? I find that very curious. I think Tatsu is ending this arc, and we're getting Momo's memories back, and possibly a full-on confession, which I think is kind of guaranteed, very soon. And if my theory of the bakery playing a major role comes to pass too, then I think it's even better news that the bakery could have its own arc rather than just existing in an arc within a niche plot point and a romance. Because remember, Tatsu usually only takes breaks right before or after big moments. And I don't think he wants to clutter up his series either. And if we think about it from that point of view, this chapter wasn't massive, but it was big. So that makes me think the next couple of months will be highly memorable chapters just in time for Christmas and the new year, leading up to a really big crescendo. So buckle up, boys. Dandadan is about to get all up in this bitch. Future editor C-Tactics here, who is very hopped up on coffee right now. Last week in Dandadan 215, I talked about a theory in which Jeremy gave the whistle to Momo to basically be it a form of yielding her powers to Jeremy. So we're really going to find out next week. We're going to put to the test if this theory that I had will come to fruition. And based on how many times Momo blew that whistle, I mean, she was blowing on it. I don't know if I believe that theory at this point. I don't know if I think that theory was correct. I think it was a good guess, though. And it still could be potentially possible, but I think it's like 15 to 25% likely. And I don't even really want to give it a 25%. I really wanted to give it like 15 to 20%. So what do you guys think Momo blowing on this whistle will actually do? Is it just going to be Jeremy legitimately saving Momo and Okarun and gaining their trust through a proper channel? Or is this going to be Jeremy taking Momo's powers? I think a theory to not support that theory that I didn't think of last week is essentially we already know their motivation with the bakery is to legitimately just become friends with the Dandadan. So why would they steal Momo's powers if they're trying to be her friends? like, immediately. Wouldn't make sense, right? So, yeah, I'm not sure if it's a yield thing anymore, but we'll see. Future Editor C Tactics out, yo! If you made it to the end, make sure to join my Discord via the link in the description. It's well moderated, nice. It's a nice place. Join it. Please also drop a pair of orange hearts to let me know you made it to the end. Click here for the next chapter of Dandadan, and remember, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.